You may have seen this online on Facebook or other social media applications where people will post pictures of their children, maybe a family photo, but they'll cover their face with an emoji or maybe even blur their face. But is that actually protecting your child's privacy? Are there ways for bad actors on the internet to just get around those methods of protection? We're joined live now by engineering program manager at Google and YouTube, Angela Nalakembe. Angela, thanks so much for being here with us. We really appreciate your expertise on this topic. Let's start off with the emoji option. Is doing that actually protecting your family, or is it kind of a lost cause?
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me. And I'll kick off by just sharing a little bit of the data that we're seeing over at Google and YouTube, which is that about 93% of children today will have a digital footprint by the age of 2, and that's created entirely by their parents or educators. And we have seen also that over 52% of photos that are posted today that are used to train AI models have been scraped without consent. And so what that means is that a lot of photos, emoji or not, are being used without consent to become part of an AI training data set. And now the key question here, back to what you asked, is that emoji protecting your children or your loved ones if you put it on there? And the short answer is no, unfortunately. AI models currently have evolved so fast that even though they cannot parse through, see through the emoji to reveal the face of the child or the person whose identity is being hidden, they can leverage everything else in the photo, the background, the clothing, the metadata, like even the shadows, to create a profile that can be used as part of an AI training data set.
Interesting. And so I'm going to guess if it comes to potentially blurring someone's face, whether it's your child or your own or what have you, is it sort of a similar story, maybe even a bit easier for AI to kind of wire around that?
Exactly. Yeah, there's a interesting phenomenon that researchers are calling the cocktail effect, which is where if even one photo of somebody is unprotected somewhere else, let's say on a school website, they're able to use that metadata from that private photo that has been blurred and connect it with the data in the photo that is visibly shown to create a profile of that individual. So it's definitely moving really fast.
And so for parents who are hearing this right now thinking, oh my gosh, I was doing those things and now I'm learning that really they're not having the effect that I wanted them to. In this day and age, as you mentioned, that digital footprint that's just sort of always being built in maybe ways that aren't coming from your home. What can parents be doing at this point with just how advanced technology is to be protecting their child if they'd like to online at least?
Yeah, a really big thing. I think it always starts from the home, right? And the question is digital permanence. And that's what we've been urging parents and educators to think about is if you wouldn't want a picture or a photo of you posted on a big billboard for the world to see, please do not post this information. Or if you do, make sure you have your privacy settings strongly put in and you're only sharing this with people that you know and trust. But regardless, even things like an Instagram story or TikTok, social media apps of that nature, content can still be screenshotted by bad actors and put on the internet without your consent. So you really, really have to be very vigilant in the type of content that you are putting out and being aware of what content your children are putting out as well. And then secondly, when it comes to schools, it's just really what we're encouraging people to do is get familiar with your school's AI literacy policies. This is becoming, a part of our everyday culture. So we have to be aware of how schools are using AI and what rules they're putting in place to ensure privacy of the students, especially when it comes to things like data leaks and privacy. How are they thinking about the photos or identifiable information that they're making available for on their website, whether it's addresses, ages, locations, that type of information, pressing the educators to make sure that they are putting in updated safety guidelines to make sure that children's identities are being protected in this day and age.
Yeah, and a lot of what you mentioned is really just evolving right now, or is evolving as we speak, or will evolve in coming years. It's not that every school necessarily has a policy or a protocol just yet. So asking questions about what that is, does it even exist in the first place? The days of signing a piece of paper, hey, that I'm okay to have my child's picture taken in person at school, are long gone. We are well past that in a lot of ways. As far as you mentioned a moment ago, when your child's getting to the age where they're posting their own photos, their own videos, what's important from your area of expertise to tell your children about, the choices that they're making on, their own social media?
Yeah, the key thing to really underscore is anything that you post online is online forever, right? Whether it's like I mentioned, a story post or something that expires in 24 hours, it can be archived, it can be screenshot, and it can be put outside. So you really have to stress the importance of encouraging your children to think about not just their life tomorrow or next week, but 5-10 years from now, if they want to go to college, if they like are planning to go the corporate route and get a job, this is information that could pop up about them, and you want to make sure that they're aware of the consequences of having information about them that can be used against their will, right? And so that's one thing that we're doing.
Really, really good advice. Angela, anything else to bring up on this topic? Anything else for parents, families, teenagers to know before I let you go tonight?
I think that really the key thing, again, is just underscoring the thought of thinking before you post. Digital permanence is not a concept, it's a reality. Anything you post online is online forever. And then for parents and educators, or just adults in the family, before you post anything with your child's face or likeness in it, always ask, would my, 16-year-old version of this child be okay with this information? Just making sure you're considering the long-term implications of whatever you're posting.
All right. Angela, thank you so much for your time tonight and your expertise. Some really good information for families, especially as we're heading into holiday time. Lots more pictures being taken and posted and things like that. Some great topics for families to be thinking about. We appreciate your time.
Of course. Thanks for having me. Have a good one.
You too.